Hey guys, welcome to this case study interview with the one and only Andrew Murphy. Dude, I've been looking forward to do. Obviously, we've done testimonial in the past, but having a chance to sit down and actually talk about your journey through coaching, kind of the good, the ugly, and the bad is the whole purpose of this. So if someone is watching this, they can kind of see the behind the scenes of your journey and kind of some of the results you've gotten from coaching. So without further ado, if someone doesn't know who you are, give us a quick 30 seconds, who you are, where you're based, and what you do.
Cool. So my name's Andrew Murphy. I'm based in the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia. And I've been making videos for like 19 years. OG filmmaker. I've been running my video agency for 9 years now.
Yeah, awesome. Now, obviously, I know that, and that's obviously before we started working together. So you've been doing this for a long time now, which is really, really cool. And a lot of people who watch usually these case study videos, they're not new to video. They've been doing it for quite a while, and they're looking to hear some of the results or some of the examples of like some of the journey that a lot of our previous or current clients have gone through. So I'd like to ask a couple of questions, but I want to start back kind of on the starting of where we started with coaching and then go through and kind of talk about your journey, some of the results and kind of where you've gotten to now, which would be really cool to hear as well. So let's kind of jump back to the very start. Before you started coaching and working with us, tell us a little bit about what was going on in your business then.
For sure. So we started probably nearly 2 years ago now. Started working with
2022, I think.
2022, yeah, end of 2022. And been running the business for about 7 years up until that point. And honestly, I had done business coaching in the past. I'd worked with other video coaches before, and I just never found anything that were teaching that great. Like I kind of calculate. I think I spent like $80,000 over the last 9 years on coaching and stuff. And honestly, like hands down, and this is like I don't want to say this and seem like it's so cheesy, but the money that we spent with you, like a million times better than the money we spent with all these other people, because it was like it just wasn't super duper practical. They kind of went through the general stuff, like who you're targeting and trying to do some outreach and stuff, but like I think the good thing about working with you is that for me, like I hate outreach. So paid ads it just makes sense for me. Like if I don't have to sit there and talk to people, that's cool. But also now that we've got to the stage where our paid ads are working, like it's given me the ability to then get better at other outreach things as well. And I think as well, like if I'd done your program first and then found these other video coaches, I probably could have implemented more of their stuff better now because I'm in a better position and I'm in a better mindset. But definitely like working with you, we've been able to just take the stress out of like acquiring customers. And I think that's the biggest thing is the first 7 years of my business, man, winging everything. Like just had no idea. Basically how my business ran is I had 2 agencies that I worked with and they just fed me all the work. And basically if one of them just stopped feeding me work, that would be like 50 to 60% of my income and it would just be gone overnight. And thinking about it now, it gives me so much anxiety and it makes me so stressed. Like, I don't know how I ran the business that way. And yeah,
That's when you're in Perth, right?
And again, when we moved over here, like we started working with another agency. Our approach was, I guess, just find an agency who was good at getting clients. And then we'd just be like their little video minion to do all the side projects. But the downside of that was that we didn't have a say in pricing. We didn't have a say in strategy. It was just like here's a project. This is the price. Do you want to do it? Yes or no? There was no question about it. And it wasn't until we really started working with you that we figured out, like how do we create good offers? How do we, price ourselves effectively? How do we position ourselves as like an actual valuable resource in the video community rather than just someone who, makes videos, like a commodity filmmaker essentially.
Yeah. So obviously I know a bit of your struggle was, in the early days, you invested in other coaching programs, other we have and haven't. Like recently we've had a few new clients who've gone on board who haven't invested in a coaching program, and it's their first time investing. And for myself, I've invested over 200K in coaching, mentoring. It's probably been one of the biggest things that's got me out of holes or parts of my business or when I'm struggling. And sometimes the programs that we've done in the past, they don't kind of make sense until a couple of years later from the stuff that you learn. So let's talk a little bit more about obviously when you first joined. So I know you've done a couple of programs like you just said, and in the past a lot of it came from agencies. Where were you struggling when you did join? Because I know 2022, I know it's a bit to go back to kind of where you are now because you've got different problems today, bigger, better problems to have. But what was the struggle at the start when you first joined, before
So
joining?
the biggest thing for me, honestly, was sales. Like, hand on heart, it took me so long to figure that out, and it was really because I'd had that agency model and I didn't have to sell. I then suddenly went into like, I've been doing this for 7 years. I understood how to make good videos and like the actual technical side of things. So my mindset was like, well, I've been doing this. I'd been charging high prices. Like, charging high prices wasn't the thing, but I never had to sell myself to get to charge those high prices essentially. And then I suddenly went into you have to start selling to cold traffic as well. And it's like, honestly, I think it took me like 3 months before I got my first sale or something. And I remember, well, like we were going through the program and you gave me some advice, and I didn't really listen to it at first around pricing. And it wasn't until we actually started listening to your advice that we started signing clients. But it just took ages, and it was because I just didn't have that skill built up. And now as well, like whenever I chat to people that are getting started, it's like, just jump on as many calls as you can, whether you sell it or not. You just have to practice. Like I still remember my first sales calls, and I would have the script on the left and the Zoom call on the right, and they would be like, "Cool, do you want this?" Yep, and then do like question answer, and it was terrible. But it's all part of the process. Like, it's what you have to go through. And now when I jump on sales calls, it's like it's very comfortable. It's very natural. Like, I just feel like something that when I first started, I was like, I'm never going to be good at this. Like, I'm just always going to be bad. And now I just feel like it's just another thing. Like, yeah, like sometimes a lead will come through. They'll go through a whole nurture sequence, and they'll just be a perfect fit. And 10 minutes before a call, I'll do a bit of background research, see what they're doing, jump on a 45-minute call, sell them on a $10,000 plus package, and just like that.
Now
Like,
it's just
just
easy to do
simple.
that because you have the
Yeah,
skills. So
exactly.
so obviously, yeah, I remember vividly jumping on some calls and being like, man, I can't sell. Like, I'm just really struggling with this and getting people to commit, which is a common problem for a lot of videographers and video agency owners when they, especially in the early days. I actually had a new client join this week. Is like, man, I don't want to become a salesperson, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, but I'll share my thought first because you've probably had this belief, and this is probably the switch that probably happened. And correct me if I'm wrong. If you see sales as like you having to convince someone to buy your thing, and then you feel bad about them buying, that usually prevents a lot of people, especially when you're creative. Like, it's like your baby, you're selling your art, and you're like, I don't know if it's perfect yet. I don't know if I can sell it just yet. So usually that I've seen across the board from coaching guys, and especially people that come on board with this, is they're afraid from selling because of the stigma around sales. Reverse of that is obviously what we teach as a permission-based selling systems, where you ask for permission, and at the end of the day, you're qualifying them to see if you can actually help them. Share a little about your experience. What was the switch for you that you like suddenly got it? What was the switch for you in sales?
I think the main thing for me initially was, when you first get started and you're first doing sales, is obviously you want to make a sale. So I found I was very forceful, because it's like, I need to get some runs on the board, and you don't just like, honestly, if you join the course or you think about joining the course, just don't think about sales like the first month. Just jump on calls and just be natural. And again, it's like, you'll get so much more out of it, and you'll get so much further ahead if you're not thinking about having to make the sale. Because now, like for us, is we don't necessarily have to sell. It's like, if the right client comes through, then we'll sell to them. If not, then that's fine as well. But I think the big switch for me was knowing that there's that constant flow of leads coming in through having a good client acquisition system. And then that if I jumped on the call with someone and they just weren't a good fit, like they didn't fit the criteria. They weren't answering that questions. Maybe they just weren't. We just didn't vibe with them. Being okay, being like, okay, not a good fit. Just give them some advice, help them out, but being able to say no to them because I know that, tomorrow, the day after, that, there's going to be another prospect that's going to come through and we've got another opportunity to sell them. And like for our business, like if we sold a new client every week, like we would be so incredibly overwhelmed. And that's only one client a week. Like I remember when I first get it started, I was like, I want to be signing like 4 clients a week, like all this stuff, not understanding that like the back end is going to be a nightmare. But yeah, now going through the process, it's been much easier to sell. And again, I've been doing it for whatever 20 months now consistently, 21 months or something coming up. Honestly, I feel like it's just reps. Like it's just time. You just have to be consistent with it, jump on the calls, whether you feel good, whether you feel shit, because you find that if you can sell, even if you're having a bad day, even if something's gone on, then that is where you just, I guess, like unlock this new thing, because when you're having a good day, it's perfect. But then when you're having a bad day, you can pull the energy from something, you can do something to make sure you're still showing up in the correct way.
Yeah. So obviously sales is at the start for you was a big thing that kind of once it clicked for you, you started to close more deals, and then you started to realize obviously the back end issues start to happen because you get good at sales, you start closing more clients, things start to happen in the back end. I'd like to hear a little bit about the kind of issues that come from now where you're at, right? So to give you a bit of context, obviously you mastered the sales things. You've got the lead generation in place, which is obviously consistently generating leads. Tell us a little bit about where the business is, fast forwarding a little bit. Now, what have you gotten to now that you've solved the sales and the lead generation? What's the business look like now?
Yeah. So end of last year, we were doing consistently about 30K a month. And then start of this year, we kind of were like, okay, we decided to scale to the moon. That was we wanted to hit that, $1 million mark. And we've done a few 50K months, but yeah, I think for me, like my mindset isn't ready for that yet. Like I'm not ready with the team and the systems. It's like we're building it, but we tried to pump in too much flow into a system that isn't quite ready for it yet. So we've done a couple of 50K months, but we've scaled back to like 25, 30K, because we found that was that spot where it's like our team's really good at it, the system works, and we can get a bit of breathing room to then to put the right processes in place. And then if we go again for that 50, 60, 70K months, it's actually set up properly. Because we had like, I think I had a team of 6 when we were doing that 50K months, but we probably needed a team of 7. And we hadn't really figured out like a really good, hiring process, finding the right talent, all that sort of stuff. And as we were kind of like in the midst of it, we had a team member leave. We didn't have a system to hire, or our current team members were like getting overworked. And I think that's where we started getting quite stressed about like, we're really good at getting the work now. That's not the problem. Now the new problem is, how do we find the team to be able to deliver at a high enough quality with the influx of clients that we've got?
Yeah. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because some people go and they go, I want to get to like 50 to 100K per month this month. And some people may be watching this wanting to get to their first $10,000 or $20,000 per month. I see it as like there's 3 kind of journeys in your first kind of 2 or 3 years of a video business. There's your 10K consistent month, there's your 20 to 30K per month, and then there's like your 50K. Above then, it gets a bit scary and there's a bit more stuff you need in place. But usually if you don't get the first layer, which is the 10K, right? If you don't get some good foundations in your business, getting to the 20K or 30K is really hard. Once you get there, if you try to jump from 30 to 50, which is example what you did in 1 or 2 months, there's a gap. And this gap is like, you've got to hire a team, your expenses kind of go out. And I share this to anyone who's watching this to inspire them, but also to put some reality into place here is, your business is not going to be built to 50K suddenly in 2 months. If you do that, it's going to cause you a lot of stress and anxiety, right? You get to a point like, oh shit, I'm pulling my hair out. But as you just said, sometimes you're going to take a couple of step backs in your business to get the proper foundations in place, to improve the product, to improve the service, And this is where like a lot of guys that we want to work with is really building the foundation so they can scale to 50 to 100K plus per month in the next couple of years. So obviously that's kind of your journey. That's where you are now. You just kind of sort of a rebuild of some of the systems to fine tune the product. I'd like to hear, obviously we shared some numbers, but I'd like to hear some like specific wins or some things from the coaching, because we've been working together for almost 2 years now. What's some like specific highlight moments for you throughout the coaching journey that you're like, man, that was the thing that really helped us get out of this problem? Like, what's some wins and accomplishments you've had along the way?
Sure. So I think definitely just implementing a real simple client acquisition system, like number one, that's just completely changed the way we do business, because now it's not a problem of like, where's our next customer coming from? We know that, if things start slowing down, we film a new ad, we make a new campaign, we just post it and we can start getting new leads really quickly, right? That'd be the first one. Second one was just being able to actually like chat with you every week and be like, this is the problem that we're currently facing, and just being able to get input from someone who's actually been there. Whereas like for us, it's the whole concept. It's a concept that I always talk about, which is like, you don't know what you don't know. And for us, it's like every week being able to come to you and be like, this is the problem that we're currently dealing with. We don't know what the solution is. Can you just like point us in the right direction if we can start doing it? Having that one-on-one access was just like amazing. And then thirdly, I think the main thing was just like having obviously the ability that you've systemized your business so much. And that has been the number one thing that's actually allowed us to get to where we are today as well. Because without having all the proper systems in place, like we couldn't do half the stuff we do. Like you've seen our customer journey, like there is so many steps in it. And to have to like remember all that stuff and try to get everyone on board and all that, like without having a very clear roadmap of how we actually deliver our service, like we just wouldn't have been able to do that at all.
I think, I can agree with you. Seeing your customer journey and the amount of stuff that you have in place can be quite complex if you didn't have some proper systems in place. So, there's some cool wins. I think one thing I want to touch on, which we maybe haven't talked about just yet, obviously you came to one of our in-person events, or two actually. We were on two that you came to. We've got guys who are thinking something we're expanding on is doing more in-person events. I'd love to hear kind of your feedback on in-person events. Obviously, we did coaching together, but obviously you got to come to our events as well. Tell us a bit about the impact those events have, because I know they have had a bit of impact on your business outside of obviously what we do in coaching, but just give us a bit of a summary of like what those events have done for your business as well.
Yeah, for sure. So the good thing about the events is that you get to actually spend time with other people that are in the trenches, the same as you. And it can feel like a very lonely journey business. I feel like just entrepreneurship in general can feel quite lonely. But being able to like go to an event where there's like 10, 15 people and you're like, I'm really struggling with this. There's like 4 other people that are like, man, that's exactly what I'm going through. Or the other cool thing as well, which I really got a lot of value from, was being able to sit down with other business owners and be like, this is our process, this is how we deliver something. And someone being like, oh, how about like, why don't you change this and this and this? We do it this way. And just being able to get insights from other people that are actually doing it as well. I feel like from the event we did at the end of last year, I think it was, there was so many little nuggets that I got from people just sharing the way they deliver and the way they run their business. And it's just stuff that I'd never thought of before. Like it seemed quite simple, but just being able to see other people implementing it and them telling like the impact it's had on their business just made me really rethink like how we go about actually running our business as well.
I know for me, events have been really powerful. That's why I wanted to check in and kind of hear your kind of takeaway, because coaching on its own is great, but also getting to connect with other people going for the same thing. This is something that is a benefit of joining any of our programs that clients come into. We always have a community element of it. We've switched to doing mainly focusing on cohorts and intakes of people who all join at kind of a similar spot, which is really cool to see when people come to our events. It's like they get to meet the people that they're seeing online or they're being around, or and I know from our last event, seeing some of the guys that you're still friends with and connecting with outside of what we've done together, which is really, really cool. Because again, like you said, in business, it's a lonely space sometimes, especially in the creative space. Like sometimes when you're starting out, maybe not everyone's like this, but you see any of your mates who are in the video space kind of as competition. You're like, I don't really want to ask them for advice or help. Maybe not for you right now, but some people are scared of doing that and be able to come to events and going, oh, hang on, this guy's actually going through the same problem I'm going through. I actually relate to this. Let's be friends. Let's connect.
And I think as well,
Um,
like obviously we've got like the wins board and stuff in the community, and seeing people post that, you're like, sometimes it can feel a bit draining. Where you're like, oh, you know, they've got another win, they've got another win. But then you do go to these events and you chat to the people, and it's like, yes, they're having the win, but there's also all this other stuff that a lot of people just don't share in the community, right? And then it's
mm,
suddenly like, oh, you're actually going through the exact same thing that I'm going through. It's just that maybe like there's been a couple of wins, maybe we haven't shared the wins that we've been going through, or maybe we just don't see the wins as important or as big as other people. But it is
mm,
being able to see both sides of the coin, Ryan. Because like,
mm.
inevitably, a lot of people just don't want to share the bad stuff in the community because you want it to always be positive, right? But it
Yeah.
is nice to see the things that's actually going on behind the curtain, to see that you are, you know, just the same as everyone else here.
Yep. Yep. And that's why I want to do this kind of style interview for everyone who's watching this. Is like, it's a safe space to share your struggles. Because business doesn't go like this. On the surface, everything looks like it's going, whoa, this guy's going really, really well. But behind closed doors, there's usually like 3 or 4 things breaking at once as you start to scale an agency. And that's why for us, a big part of, the next even 12 months is building community that can really foster that kind of bond of like being there for other people who are struggling through different periods. I can always be there as well, but getting other people who got a similar spot in their business going, oh man, dude, I had that issue 3 months ago. This is what I did. Um, super, super powerful. So
Sure.
thanks for sharing around the community, because I think that's really powerful for other people to hear. But a couple more questions, man, and I think I think we'll wrap it up. But the last 2 questions, this last one I have is, tell us a little bit about your life now. Obviously, when you first started with this, you going pretty far back. You're struggling, obviously, sales was one of the big things you said, and obviously had no lead flow. And you've done other coaching programs before, which were valuable, but weren't as obviously fixing the problem that you had. What's your typical day like right now? Like, what's Andrew's day when it comes to him running his business now?
So I got off the tools probably honestly about a year ago now. My main role in the business now is just client acquisition, which is just I come in, I fix some stuff, I jump on some strategy calls, like high level thinking, rather than, you know, doing the editing, doing the stuff. We got a team of 5, so we've got myself, an ops manager, a shooter, an editor, and a VA, and they really take care of everything. I'm even like our ops manager kind of organizes the team and stuff. I'm really bad at organization. I'm just like, I want to do everything. And then our ops manager, who's my wife, she kind of takes everything that I'm doing and figures out how to actually make it happen. It was good. Without her, this business would not be where it is. But yeah, a lot of the time it's just, yeah, like trying to, you know, go through the marketing campaign, see what's working, see what's not, filming some new ads, chatting to new business owners. Like it's just a lot of, I wouldn't say networking. It's more just like working on the business rather than in the
Mm,
business, which is nice.
right.
Yeah.
So it's a complete switch of trying to figure out, like, being stuck in the day to day. Now it's like working on the business, which ultimately is the goal for a lot of our clients. If you can work more on your business, the more it's going to grow. And like you said, in the last couple months, you're doing a bit of a rebuild or restructuring some stuff so you can go to that next level, but probably in a more sustainable way, which is a big thing that I think a lot of clients that come to us go, hey, we want these systems so we can get more time back, so we can spend more time with our family, travel, or whatever they want to do, which come from obviously better systems, obviously, right? Um, Last question, man. And this is for someone who's watching this video who's going, yeah, this all sounds great. Watched all the case studies and testimonials, seen these guys online. I see that they're crushing it. What would you say to that person who's watching this right now, who's thinking about investing in one of our coaching programs or coming to one of our in-person events? What would you say to that person who's sitting on the fence?
I'd say there's a lot of stuff out there. Like there's a lot of coaches that can teach you the fundamentals and how to run a business, all this sort of stuff. But hands down, like the investment that we've given you to teach us the stuff you taught us has literally like it's 200 times like the return we've got back from the investment. Like I think we've made nearly $600,000 in the time that we've been working together, which is and literally direct correlation between like you starting with you and teaching us the system and making that money in our business. Like it just wouldn't have happened without that, which is really, really cool. But again, it's like if you're not going to spend the time and invest in something to help you grow, it's like ultimately you're probably not going to get there by yourself, because it's like I was saying before, if you don't know what the steps are, it doesn't matter how much thinking or time you spend, you're going to waste all this time. And for me, like it took me literally 7 years of trying different things to find you to point us in the right direction. And then within 3 months, we built an actual sustainable business. But it's like you could spend all this time, you could spend years trying to find the right systems, resources, whatever, or you could just invest in yourself and actually put a bit of money aside and go, what if I just do this? Even if it's like, let's just do this for 3 months. And then in 3 months' time, nothing happens. Like I literally learned nothing. And I'm sure you'd actually support this. If someone joined your community and they're like, I have literally learned nothing in the 3 months, then it's like, whatever, like leave. I don't care. But it's like, honestly, you will learn so much or such good fundamental skills that you can carry for the rest of your life. And not just in a video business, in any business that you run. Because it's like, although Ayrton gives you fundamentals for a video business, you've learned very quickly that it's kind of all the same. Like you could apply this to another business. And why it's so good is that you're going to be working with businesses as well. So not only the systems that Ayrton will teach you to run your own business and get clients, you can then take the knowledge and then develop that and make products and services that actually help your clients who are businesses improve their business as well, which is just like so good.
I think that's yeah, I can 100% agree with you, man, on that. I think if someone's on the fence, taking Andrew's advice there, obviously you're going to learn some cool systems. Getting one of the big things on that as well is getting clients good results as well and improving the business systems. A lot of stuff that we teach is like the fundamentals of like understanding the strategy. Facebook ads, all these platforms, they will come and go, but understanding the fundamentals of business, of marketing and sales and delivery are the keys. So sweet. Appreciate you sharing, man. I think it's been a really great interview to kind of hear your journey. I know we've covered a lot in today's video. Is there anything you think that we've missed that you want to cover on, or you think we pretty much covered everything?
Pretty covered everything. I think the main thing, like you're saying, is just like at some point you're going to have to invest in doing this thing or learning the right thing. And I know I talk to a lot of videographers now as well, and I know that a lot of the guys are struggling with, they're so focused on the technical side of things. And it's like, but you know, if I just buy that new camera, if I get that new light, then that's what's going to get me clients. No, investing in an actual coach that's going to teach you how to run a business is what's going to get you clients. And then once you've done that, like, let's do this, invest in Ayrton, do the course. You can buy as many cameras as you want because now you've got a system that'll print money for you and you can do whatever you want. But do this first because this is what's going to be able to make you print money.
Yeah, I love that. I'll touch on that. If you're watching this video and you're just thinking about buying either a camera or doing our coaching program, obviously my advice is to invest in yourself. The gear is going to be great, but what if you could go get some clients and then buy some new camera, maybe buy a red camera, and that's what you want to buy down the track. But dude, appreciate you jumping on. I know we've had an amazing journey so far, and I can't wait to see you grow even further over the next couple of years, man. For someone who's watching this video and you're thinking about working with us, maybe you're over on YouTube or you're watching this in one of our marketing funnels or you're having a chat with one of our team right now. If you want to work with us, take that next step. If you don't, and today you're like, no, this is not something I want to do, that's totally cool. We want to make sure that we give you and share the insights of obviously hearing from clients from our mentorship programs. But reach back out to our team if you are in that process ready to take action with us. If you are ready to do it, not if you're like kind of dabbling. If you're dabbling, don't book a call. We want to make sure that you're ready, and hopefully this gives you enough evidence or information so you can make an informed decision. But that's it. Thank you very much, Andrew, and I look forward to seeing you watching this video, seeing you at one of our in-person events or in one of our coaching programs.